Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am Sandy Shellis, and welcome my wonderful guest, Kalish Anato. We practiced. Welcome, Kalish. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I hope you like my video.
Yeah.
Well, I used things that you had sent me, so I thought that I would use them. So tell me, I want to do a little sound check. Let me see if I can hear you.
Hi, Sandy. Good
Hi.
evening.
Good evening. I heard you louder before, so I don't know what you're maybe go closer to the mic for everybody. We have a wonderful audience that is joining us. Hi, Anthony and Kay, and hold this, will you? And Di, hello, hello, hello. Kay, all of our friends are here tonight, and T-Bone and our moderator Kim. Gary Hoover singing away. It is Philip. It's beautiful to see Midas, Lisa, and Ken, Jack, everybody. Rich, Diana. It is just wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight, guys. This is a special, special guest for me. Kalish and I are in the Twitter sphere of doom, the doomer sphere of Twitter, and we have been talking for quite a while. And I am very proud to have you on. So take it away and tell us about yourself.
Hi to everyone. My name is Kailash Shanerao. I am a chartered accountant by profession. Uh, I was till 4 years back. I was working in Big Four accounting firm. Uh, uh, 4 years back, I left my job, and I was wondering what to do next. So what happened was there was a big protest going on during that time near in Mumbai. There is a big forest. Mumbai is blessed to have a forest within its city limits. So that forest was in trouble, and many people were accumulating at that place to stop the concretization of that place. So I just went to see what's happening actually. And when I went there, I saw that uh, contrary to people who normally I used to meet, these people are very positive. They want to do something constructive. They there was a lot of positivity around, then I started talking to these people, and then I understood, there are a lot of problems. What we see as development is actually destroying a lot of lives, which
Oh, yeah.
we are not aware of, or that is not uh, conveyed to us through media. It is every development is projected as, in India at least, that we want to remove the poverty. So it's projected to remove the poverty, but actually it's benefiting a few guys. So uh,
Well,
uh,
yeah. I saw that you sent me the article. I read all about the railroad baron and the people that are making all this money. It is just like every other corrupt government. I mean, we all seem to operate the same way. Get rich, buy up what you can, and hurt the people.
Yeah. So the uh, the actual benefit, as you said, it only goes to a few people, and those people, nobody is asking those people whether you want this development or not. So though it is a democracy, and it should run as per the wishes of the people, but nobody is asking them whether you want to, sort of develop, or you want to stay, because we have a lot of community in India who are living in forests.
Beautiful.
They have been the protectors of the forests in India, and now a few people just come in and they want to take away everything which their way of life. They are they don't want, they just want to stay there,
Wow.
without being disturbed by us,
Mm-hmm.
so called civilization.
Yeah.
So then we go there and we normally we take away their resources and destroy the natural habitat and the biodiversity. So India, if you see, it is one of the most biodiverse regions of the world. There is every small area you will find lot of animals. There are a lot of
Beautiful
microorganisms.
animals. I know.
So this when I went there, even though people are living in a city and they are used to this city life, there was a desire to save what is left in the city. So then I started talking to a lot of people, and somebody gave me a reference to go and meet Advocate Girish Raut. So I went and met him for a 2 hour. For 2 hours, he explained me the real issues, that everybody should know about environment, the global warming scenario, and
Absolutely.
it was really shocking for me to hear it for the first time, as
Oh,
it usually happens, and disbelieving that something of this scale is happening and nobody's talking about it. uh,
yeah, we are.
so from there, then I started, it was a shock for me. For 3 to 4 days I was not understanding, how to react to what I have heard. So thereafter, I started doing my own research, because that is how I was trained, to do a lot of research in my area of expertise. So I
Numbers.
started,
You're a numbers guy.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started doing the research, I came across Dr. Guy McPherson. uh,
Okay, well, everyone here in this chat has been there for sure.
yeah, and the brutal truth that he talks about, in India, there are very few people who now talk the truth. Most of the time you will find people very easily telling lies, and
Yeah,
trying to
there you go.
uh, say so-called positive things and stay away from the negative stuff, which is actually the reality of our situation. So nobody wants to go and bell the cat, and they just want to just show it, and talk about things uh, which will further the agenda, so sort of the
Sure.
mainstream.
What you call
uh,
concretization, I really, you're right with the concretization and just growing. Let me ask you a question before we go on a little bit, because this is going to play into the people that live in the forest. 6.8%, you said, of global emissions. That's all India contributes. Yet the disasters are 80,000 deaths, 1 billion people affected in the last 2 decades, and it's unacceptable. And that, we rich countries need to do something, but yet you're just explaining that the people they want what they think that we have in the West without realizing that that's going to be the end, correct?
yes. The path which is now shown to the world, that to live a better life, you need to industrialize, you need to urbanize, you need to concretize everything.
Yeah.
That the template which is provided, the same template, countries which were, previously giving importance to the natural environment, the sort of the political agenda has shifted completely, and now they feel that this template which is there, that is the only thing that can be followed if you want to sort of develop into a industrialized nation. uh, so
Now, can I ask you a quick question again?
yeah.
Industrialized nation. What does that mean to you? Because many parts of India have industrialized, and so what would it mean to the leaders? What is Modi saying is his goal for industrialization? Explain that.
See, so it's not what Modi says, or a political party says. Every
Okay.
party, every party is the same. Every party will wants to remove poverty. So that is what they project. That they want to remove
Okay.
the poverty, but actually what they are doing is destroying the natural environment and replacing it with industries, pollution, uh,
Oh my God.
concrete, steel. So, so
So, what one person sees as poverty, in other words, living a natural life, is seen as poverty because people are
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
kind of
See, this is how the GDP is calculated. Destruction of
okay.
environment is never taken into consideration. So there is no negative value calculate GDP. Everything which is destroying the environment is considered as a plus, and the destruction itself doesn't come into the calculation of gross domestic product. So
Wow.
when a forest is destroyed, that should be calculated, and what the ecosystem services which are lost. In fact, you can't put a value on life. I had come across a very silly sort of where an entire forest was calculated to at a particular value, which was less than the value of a house of the richest person in India,
They
Mukesh
don't
Ambani.
get it. Oh my
So,
God.
how can you put a value on a life that is beyond my understanding, at least? I don't like when people calculate the ecosystem value or the value of the ecosystem services. There cannot be a value put on the natural environment. There cannot be a value put on the ecosystem services that we are getting. And all those services which are given to us free by nature, there is few people come and place themselves between those free services and us, and they want to take away the credit for what nature is giving to us free of
Oh,
cost.
it breaks my heart actually. It does. And the way you explain it and how I vision, I'm envisioning that people they've had their beauty, they've had this natural simplistic life that really is the best way to live, and the western countries have perverted it and made it something just dollars and cents. You're right. Wow.
But I would not blame any country, or it's like
Oh, come on.
why why are people in those countries not understanding that if you keep on destroying the natural environment, there will be nothing left for them, because whether it is the industrialist or a common people, everybody needs food, water, and air. Clean air, clean water, and clean food to survive. There is no, you can't survive on money. You can't survive on concrete houses. You need the natural environment to stay alive. That's the simplest, reason for us not to destroy it. But somehow people feel that there is an unlimited supply of this, and since there is no one to advocate or talk on their behalf, it is okay to destroy it.
And it is not. And you came up with your 14. Well, we talked about this earlier. If I called it your manifesto, but your 14 points that that you wrote about the the living your life and forming a community of like-minded people. And I don't know if I should. I'm not going to pull it up, but let's talk about the things that you see happening that you would like to see in your country, and of course with the caveat that it may never happen for the mass population, but it sure is beautiful what you've said, what you wrote down for us. So why don't we start with that? Wonderful.
Ye- Yeah, those 14, I call it the guiding principles for any person, so first one is, everybody needs shelter. So what kind of a shelter do we need? Do we need to stay in a concrete house which is made after destruction of, if you want concrete, you have to destroy a mountain. So, is it worth destroying a mountain to stay, in a concrete house? So that whether there is an alternative to that, to that kind of housing, whether you need to stay, whether can you find eco-friendly material. That is how most of the people staying in India, at least, was earlier staying. They didn't have any concrete house. They were staying in whatever locally material was available.
Yes,
So,
local material. Mm-hmm.
so that is the first point, that whether we can stay in a non-concrete house, a house which is made from local material, which is we in our place, Konkan, there is a laterite rock. So that to get that rock, there is no need to destroy any mountain. You can just take it from the ground, and that also helps to, in as you know, there is a strong heat wave which is going on. But if you stay in that kind
Yes.
of house, the heat remains outside. It cannot come inside the house. So the climate inside the house, naturally, there is no need to use any air conditioner. There is no need to use any electricity, and it can still remain 5 to 6 degree, cooler. So we can use such kind of alternatives, and I don't see any reason why we need to, make a concrete house and stay in it, and then use air conditioners to cool the place.
Which is what they're talking about in the news now.
Yeah.
All the air
Yes.
conditioning and the coal that needs to be, that there's not enough coal. And oh my gosh.
Actually, the most of the stuff you read in the newspapers may not be the factual position, because
Oh,
such things are planted sometimes in the media, so that then it gives a reason for the government to go and destroy a forest. This Chhattisgarh,
sure.
in central India, this forest which we have now, which is going to be destroyed,
I
is a huge forest. It is around 1,800 square kilometers. More than 500 animals, types of species stay there. and it is a elephant corridor as well, joining other surrounding forests. And
The elephants.
so when they want to kind of justify the destruction, then such stories do come in the media. And now nowadays, instead of going and addressing the core reason why heat waves are spreading across India, it's easier to say that we need the coal to cool the place
Yeah,
down.
sure. It's what we call gaslighting,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Gaslighting, lying, lying. And it's happening in the United States with the energy crisis because of the war in Ukraine, which means that now they'll open up in the United States more drilling and more whatever, more pipelines. And it's, does it change anywhere? Boy.
So that is the
Mm,
first point. Whether
yes.
we can stay in a in a house which is uh, made from locally available material and without harming the environment, to sort of shelter ourselves from the elements. So that is the first point. Then we come to the second point, which is food. Whether we need to grow our food in such a way that we destroy the biodiversity of the place. So i- uh, there are a lot of techniques. India being a country where which depended on agriculture as
Mm-hmm.
a means. As a the share of agriculture in India in the economy was more than 70% earlier. Most of the people used to stay in rural areas. There were not many urban areas earlier. So how do we grow food without destroying the soil? How do we grow food without destroying the biodiversity? So when I see how food is grown in, for example, United States, acres and acres of land are just cleared and only one type of crop is grown. So that is not how food is grown in India, because mostly the land holdings are small. So a family may have half a acre or quarter acre of land, and they have to basically grow everything that they need. So
Mm-hmm.
part of small portions of the land is divided, and they try to grow everything in that. So that is how so there is no large scale clearance of the land. The hedge grows on which within which something is grown. So you have plants, fruit trees which are planted on it. So that is intercropping, because food is grown throughout the year in India. So the soil naturally regenerate. That is how for the last 5,000 to 10,000 years our civilization was able to grow food in the same land without the soil losing its nutrients. But in the 1960s, chemical agriculture was introduced to the country, and
Boom. That was the worst
so
thing.
fertilizers, pesticides were being used. In fact, the government promoted it on the
Oh
pretext
no.
that the yields are going to increase, you will get more food. So, but that is always, a short term. For the short term, the yields did increase, but then as the soil started, losing the nutrient value, the production, the seeds which were there, saved by the farmer for so many years, he started depending on the government for the seeds. Then his cost started increasing. Earlier there was no cost in uh,
Wow.
so since there was no cost, there was no debt on the farmer. And And he started using the chemicals, next year he required a little more, so he had
Mm-hmm.
to pay more. So his cost of since he stops saving seeds, he had to pay for the seeds, he had to pay for the fertilizers, and his cost increased, and so he had to take loan. And then there was a debt trap for the farmer, and now you must be hearing that so many farmers are committing suicide in India.
Yes.
Almost a lakh of farmers commit suicide because of the debt trap which is happening.
And that's happening directly because the pesticides were introduced or the herbicides in order to increase yield to feed more people, but it actually worked the opposite.
So all this modern technology which is projected to benefit is actually causing harm in a country like
Wow.
India. And instead of focusing on yield per acre, it is always important that what kind of nutrients are you getting from the food. Whether we
Mm-hmm.
can focus on yield, a nutrient per acre rather than yield per acre. So we
Okay.
have to look into the quality of the food instead of the quantity.
That's true. That's something we don't know about here. We know about quantity. You go to any American restaurant and they'll give you a plate full of stuff, but it's probably this much nutrition. True.
So
We had
the
the
the next point is shelter is food, and then comes to clothing. Earlier, we used to wear cotton material, in natural cotton material, hand woven natural cotton material, which we so this clothing is suitable to the climate as well, in which we stay, because it being a hot and humid climate in India. You need clothing which can allow your skin to breathe, sort of. So this we as oil was introduced in India, and oil refining started on a large scale, there was lot of waste material, uh, which which was there. So the industrialist came up with the idea of using that for making clothing. So cotton was mixed with polyester, and that is not good for the skin. And the dyes, the chemicals which is used in the clothing, we don't actually sort of look into those aspects. We just wear it
no.
without understanding what harm it is causing to us, to our health, to our skin, and what
Mm.
diseases it brings along. So
I think we're understanding those of us that have illnesses that nobody had 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years ago after wearing all this stuff. But
yeah,
nobody wants to say causation because there's not enough studies. And then if they say causation, well, there goes the fashion industry. So that won't happen.
yeah. So that is the third point. What we have to be cognizant of, where we are staying, what material is used for our houses. Second is what we are eating. We know more about the mobile and its features than the food that we are eating. So why is
True.
that education? Don't educate ourselves. How the food is grown, where it is grown, how it comes to our plate. We have to be cognizant of all aspects of our life. What is important to for our life, we don't sort of put our mind to that stuff. We just assume that everything is fine, and that government or some other agency is looking into it, but let me assure you that nobody is looking into that aspect. Everybody is focusing on profit, and everybody is focusing on their self interest. So it is up to us to look after our interests
Yeah.
and we so that is next point is that can we depend on government in future for food, water, and all the important aspects which keep us alive. So I have come to the conclusion that we can't, because it is going to be difficult to have a civilization in future. So as civilization collapses, we will have to support ourselves. So it's better to be ready for that coming future. And we have to grow our own food. We have to uh, look see have our own water and all the other aspects. So that is the next point, that how the community can be self-sufficient and not depend on government for anything. So
Okay.
that then the next point is the money. uh, we have to eliminate money from our dealings. So as a community, I thought that we should, why is there a need to we have money as an exchange between the community members? Why can't we eliminate money from our dealings? So uh, what I've decided, that we should not have any money transactions between the community members. In India, barter trade was there before, in practice in is still practiced in certain areas of India. People exchange what they want with other people, and there is no need to use money in those dealings, because as soon as you start putting value on certain things, which is artificially sort of
Yeah.
put. Uh, eliminate that. If there is no money, there is no greed.
Are you familiar? You're familiar with Adam Soul. He's on our in the Twitter feed, Adam Soul. He talks about post collapse living with no money, and how there's going to be post collapse communities, and there will be pockets of people, and he has a whole plan. Everybody, has something, but he's in our community. He's I'm sure you've seen him.
Yeah. Then coming to the next point, animals. Uh, we In the industrialized world, what happens is that we start treating everyone as a commodity. Uh, Anyone who has animals know that every animal is unique. Every animal has its likes, dislikes, just like any human being. Yeah, you can feel that every animal is a separate individual. It no two animals behave the same. Some might be a little aggressive, some might be very docile, some like to eat certain things, some don't like to eat certain things. So we only see animal as something which fulfill our needs. uh,
Yeah,
uh,
and that's religion does that. A lot of that tells us that we have sovereignty over the whole planet. Many religions, most religions.
so why can't we treat animal as we treat a human being? So next point is that can we give the same rights to an animal? uh, so there is no two views on that. We have to treat them with dignity. They too have the right to life, to food, and shelter, and they should not be exploited in any manner. See what we do.
Oh,
Mahatma
well done.
Gandhi's the father of our nation. He had once said that to understand how civilized the nation is, and we should see how they treat their animals.
Well, then I don't think we're very civilized in the United States with factory farms. In fact, we're not. We're hideous.
Same is happening in India under the something known as the White Revolution, which was introduced in India, where cows are now treated like a commodity, a machine
And it
to
wasn't.
get. Yeah, once it wasn't. In
No.
it was a cow is was worshipped in our country because every part of a cow, is uh, it's full of it gives a lot to us. It gives a nutritional in the form of milk, and a cow was treated like a family member. He was not a cow was not restrained and kept in a particular place. They were free
Think
to
we do.
roam around. Um, they, there was a bonding like a family member with a cow once upon a time,
Once
and
upon a time.
and
Yeah.
uh, the cow. They, I mean, for procreation, it was not get sort of raped in a way. uh,
Right.
it was against their will. Nothing was done, so their progeny used to come naturally. And
Oh,
in India, there was a unsaid sort of practice that 50% of the milk belongs to the family and 50% belongs to the calf. So whether it is male or female, cow was never killed in the country. But now slaughterhouses are there, so male, because it doesn't have any use, it is just thrown away. You know, Same things which are happening in the West are started happening here.
I'm sorry.
Just India is has the largest amount of cow population, and it's not surprising that we are the now the biggest exporter of beef to the world.
India is?
Yes,
Wow. That's why
it is.
the certain forests are being chopped down for grazing land. Unless they're factory farms, they don't have much room. It's horrible and hideous, all of it. All of it.
Yeah. So the
Mm.
then coming to the next point, which is natural habitat and biodiversity. So every effort should be made. Where like you have a farm of in on which you are staying. That every effort you should do to safeguard the biodiversity of the area. What are you doing?
Mhm.
Uh, are you converting that land, the wild areas, into garden or lawns? Lawns sort of are the graveyard of biodiversity. I
I'm
mean,
learning. I'm changing. I'm rewilding. I'm not mowing, but some paths. I have gardens. I'm doing it. It's hard work, but I'm little by little doing that. That's a dream. It's a dream.
yeah.
Yes.
So when we move to a place, what we can do to preserve the wild areas? You know,
Yes.
we come we actually being living in city, we take that same thinking when we go to any other place. We want to have the same those lawns. We want to have those trimmed
The lawns.
plants. I don't know. I mean, why do we need every plant to be of the same height? For example, the do we so when we have children, one child is tall, one child is short, so why can't the trees also be in the same way? I mean, why we
I
need
don't
to
know. And who made that
homogenize?
up? Who made all that up? You know what? I bet it was the UK. It was the
So
UK.
so there are a lot of things which unconsciously enter our minds, like that there has to be lawn, that lawn has to be mowed every week. I mean, why we
Mm,
can't just keep it as it is, because the uh, we the environment is looked at as something which is for the benefit of human beings, and we don't consider any other
no.
needs of other species, though we are
No.
sharing the planet with 10 million other species. uh, Still
Yes.
we are only thinking about one species, and that is why we have come to a point where 1 million species are on the brink of extinction.
1 million. Wow.
So coming to the next point,
Gosh.
nowadays a lot of talk is going around on genetically modified foods,
Yeah.
genetically modified organisms, uh, and just to give you a small background, there was so much food diversity in our country, that a single rice uh, had around 2 lakh varieties. Rice, which is
Hmm?
grown in India, they had there were 2 lakh varieties of rice in India, and same thing was for other crops, vegetables. There is so much variety in the food. Nowadays you hardly see 5 to 10 varieties of rice in the market. So where has everything disappeared, you know uh, so and now on top of that, now we want to introduce GMO crops, which Bill Gates is promoting all over the world. Uh, and we that experiment had already started some 30 years back, when cotton, there was this introduction of GMO cotton in India, BT cotton, and and in same story all over again of the green revolution.
Um,
uh,
the
you
greed
it was
revolution.
Yeah, they call it the
Yeah.
green revolution. Actually, that's a
Green
poison.
or
Yeah.
greed? Greed.
greed greed
The D.
revolution.
Big D. Yes.
Yeah. So all the farmers were encouraged by the government to start growing this BT cotton,
Mm.
and the eventually all the farmers went into debt, and most of the
Wow.
people who are committing suicide, I mean the farmers, those are growing this GMO variety of crops in India.
Jeez.
So how we can bring back the native species, the native crops, the native vegetables, and start saving seeds. It's very important that we don't lose the control over seeds. uh, if we depend on the corporates to give us seeds as well, I think in US most of the seeds are supplied by the corporates, and
Yep.
people depend. So in India, we always had the custom of saving seeds, and passing on
I
year after
save
year.
seeds. I do.
Yeah, but we have to be cognizant of what kind of seeds we are saving, and whether
Right.
it is the GMO variety or
Right.
the old native species.
Well, I'm
Because
hoping I'm not buying GMO seeds. I'm not.
yeah,
I
and
don't think so.
because yeah, the laws are changing in India too. They enabling use of GMOs. Though Europe has banned it, in India, GMOs have been introduced, and now uh, even the packaging industry. I mean,
Oh, that's
the
horrible.
customer, is not even aware what he's buying. It's not marked as GMO. So even if I want to avoid GMOs, it is not possible today because it is not marked as GMO.
No.
So we in so the most information which is given to the customer is that whether it is a vegetarian or is there something, because India, pe- people, there are a lot of vegetarian people here, so that's the only classification which is there on the food at present. So then the most important aspect, the how we can avoid plastic in our
Oh,
daily
the
lives.
plastic. You know what? There was a video. I made a video on plastic, and there is a big plastic industry in India now. And it's not
Yes,
very well regulated, and it was heartbreaking for me to see the videos and incorporate them into my work. It just it's a tragedy.
in fact, the regulations in India are so weak that plastic from the West is imported into this country and then disposed of in rivers
I know.
and the ocean. India has become sort of a dumping ground for where.
I'm so sorry. It's horrible. I am apologizing.
But it's not that Indians that way in the current generation, at least uh, they think that they cannot imagine a world without plastic at present. Which
No.
Plastic was introduced in our country just 40 years back. Before that, there was no
Wow.
plastic, and we were alive. I mean, it was not a part of our daily lives. But now everything is packaged in plastic. We had jute bags earlier, where all the crops were, packaged in jute bags, biodegradable jute bags. But now,
Yeah,
uh, our billionaire Mukesh Ambani, he introduced packaging. Even the crops are now packaged in those plastic
because it's cheap.
bags. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, it's cheap.
cheap.
So, and government enables such kind of destructive uh, practices to profit those billionaires. So whether how the community can stop buying plastic packaged material products and purchase things locally, support the local community instead of buying something from outside the country. How we can support our local communities, local businesses, and change our needs, our food habits according to that.
Now I have a
There is no
question.
need.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, thank you.
Well, I want
The,
really quickly. I wanted to bring this up. Here in the United States, you cannot go into a simple grocery store with your own containers or plastics because of public health laws. So they make it, even though it's good on one end, public health laws, you cannot bring a container in and say, okay, could you put that in? Could you put that in? So I don't know what it's like in India. I see you're, advocating for a return to something like that.
Yeah, what we used to do in India was that we used to use our clothes, and most of the people in India used to convert that into bag. So we used to recycle our clothes into bags, and we used to take those bags to grocery stores, uh, uh, and package, and you get the food in that, and then reuse it. We used to sort of. Uh, Wash it and reuse it. So there was no waste earlier. Now we see plastic, just thrown around everywhere, and all the natural habitats have been contaminated with the plastic. And basically now you must have read about it, that those plastic gets converted into microplastics, and then
Oh my
it is
gosh.
coming back into our blood. We are eating it, and then it's gone up. It's spread into our body. Our body is no different than what is there outside. So we don't understand that if we contaminate the body, the natural environment, basically we are contaminating our own bodies.
Oh yeah.
So uh,
I've
that
had
is
many decades of polluting my own body.
uh, that's then how can we avoid these automatic electrical equipments like air conditioners, refrigerators,
Oh,
washing
big one.
machines. So just so you know the, if you have electrical equipments, then you need electricity. And as everybody knows, how electricity is produced in India, most of it is coal, burning of coal, and for coal you need to destroy forests. So that's like to break the cycle. How we can yeah how we can sort of um, avoid those items. There were alternatives earlier when we didn't have electricity. We still used to do the same things. It used to take more time, but we used to do it in a eco-friendly manner. So can we reintroduce that life, those equipments back, and instead of depending on the automatic machine, how we can use human power,
But
our two
it's like
hands.
that genie was let out of the bottle. Can it be put back in?
Yeah, it can be, and that is what we want to experiment, whether we can live
Okay.
without the automatic machine.
Now,
Then how?
even with the heat in the cities, how are people going to live with this horrible heat that's happening in the country without air conditioning?
Yeah, to give my example, though I live in Mumbai, I never switch on the air conditioner. Uh,
Okay.
so I make do with fan, and I try to avoid even the fan. So it's I think I feel that everything is in the mind, that way.
Wow.
Whether you can train our mind to avoid things which harm the environment. So
Okay.
I tried. I try. It is my belief that we cannot solve the climate crisis without sacrifice. So that sacrifice you start with me.
Okay.
If I want to tell anyone that you don't do this, whether what I am doing in my actual life matters, whether it comes. So where when I say something on Twitter and it touches your soul or your mind, it is because I have done it in my own life. It is only because I have actually done it. uh, I can convey it through the words to you, and you feel that. If I do it without first trying myself, then that conviction will not be there in my words, and then you
Right.
may not feel it. So it's very important that we first we do it to ourselves. We sacrifice the lifestyle that we are hating so much. What are we doing in our lives to change things you
That's
know
about all we can hope for because we may not be able to change the big governments, but we could change our own lives to feel better. But, there's that controversy we see on Twitter all the time. It doesn't matter. We're going to collapse anyway. That's a whole conundrum in itself,
Yeah,
Kalish.
but I would just like to quote from a whole. a book in India which is known as the Bhagavad Gita. There
Oh
is
yeah.
a chapter 2, verse 47. I think people should start living life as per this, advice which Lord Krishna gave to Arjuna on a battlefield. So I'll just read it out. You only have the right to act. So what Krishna is saying to Arjuna is that what is there in your control is to do the right thing. At the same time, you do not have the right for the fruits of your action, because if your focus is on what is going to happen, based on what I'm doing, then your focus shifts from doing the right thing to, does it matter, that sort of
Right.
thing which is coming, is it going to matter? But we don't know what is going to happen, because there are so many complications, there are so many variables inside. So what can lead to what, we are not aware. So it's better to focus on our actions, and that is what he's saying. At the same time, you do not have the right for the fruits of action. You should not act motivated by the fruits of action, and also never be inactive anytime. So not doing anything is not an option.
Right.
Uh,
I agree.
you have to do the right thing, as even Guy McPherson believes that you have to do the right deeds, and without worrying about the ultimate result. So that I just wanted to convey to your listeners as well, that if you focus only on your actions, you never know, where it can lead to. And
Right.
if you keep on analyzing things which are beyond your control, then you will
Absolutely.
end up doing nothing. So now, what I am doing is not based on where it is going to lead to. What I'm focusing is on myself, whether it pleases me, it gives me peace of mind, knowing that. So basically, now I want to extricate myself from all that is happening wrong. You know, I want to do the right thing. That is the focus of whatever I want to do in future. So, uh, coming to the next point is, how do I reduce my waste completely? Whether it is possible to go to a zero waste situation. Uh, I don't have an answer to it at present, but I would like to, sort of come achieve that goal, the final goal, which is to become zero waste. That can only happen if you remove all the artificial things from our lives, the industrially manufactured goods from our lives. If it is possible or not, I don't have an answer today, to be honest, but I would like to make an attempt with the help of the community to reduce every non biodegradable thing in my life, and switch to natural items, natural things. Then, in India, people are being divided based on religion, caste, and most of the elections are, fought on that those aspects. So I thought that, religious beliefs, though important, they have to be private. That is between you and God. I mean, why to bring the community, or any, or make public display of that
I
beliefs.
like that.
Uh, the next point is that religious beliefs should be limited to self. There will not be any public or community display. Respect for diversity is a lesson Mother Nature has taught us. Community members will follow the
I like that. That got the applause.
Community members should follow the inclusive approach which nature does, and anyone who harbors divisive caste or religion-based ideologies is will should not be welcome in the community. So, the very important that we follow nature in everything that we do, including our beliefs. The next point is that, how can we obey the laws of nature, the limits of nature. Whether the community can be organized in an ecocentric, sustainable, decentralized, interdependent, fossil fuel independent, balanced and inclusive manner. When I say inclusive means, when you have to think about the needs of humans as well as our neighbors, our natural neighbors, our the non-human species. Whether we can see to it that their needs are also fulfilled, because our focus should not be only on fulfilling the needs of the human beings. We should be able to satisfy their needs as well. In India, uh, there is, the water, the wetlands, the rivers. We are trying to take everything away from them.
We are.
So
That we are.
without understanding what, as everybody is aware that wetland is the most productive ecosystem in the world. Everyone needs water. So when we concretize a lake or a pond for human entertainment, we don't actually care for, how it is going to affect the lives of the millions of other species around us, and
No,
how,
we
from
don't.
where are they going to get water for, in their, to fulfill their needs. So it is very
Water is
important.
life. Right.
And India is, one of the most water stressed country, because
It
we
is.
have to grow our crops. We have dug bore wells deep into the earth. Some bore wells go deep, 500 feet to 1,000 feet deep, to get water for the crops. And as you go deeper, you get the heavy metals in the water, and then
Lovely.
you then poison your own body without understanding the long term implications.
Mm, 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 mm.
Then, as we discussed, we should have a seed bank. Everybody, instead of having a bank account now, we should have a seed bank account, is what I always tell everyone, that this is the real wealth. Money is actually having an artificial value. It doesn't fulfill anything. It only fulfills our greed. It doesn't fulfill our need. So to fulfill our need, we should have a seed bank account, and we should start saving the seeds and educate people. Every person should know, that seed is more important than money. And
Yeah.
considering, where we are headed, uh, uh, it's going to be very difficult to grow food. So we need the seed to grow food in future. So we should be saving seeds. Then the other things are just merely to keep the community together, that we will not sell the land to profit from it or exploit it for profit. And if any community member wants to exit the community, then he will have to sell it to the person who wants to live by those principles, which I have elaborated
Okay.
earlier. So those guiding principles, the new community members should agree on that, and that is how we can stay together and continue what we believe in. Then how do we encourage other people, to build similar communities, sharing personal experiences, learnings, and collaborating with those communities to make them stronger and self-sufficient.
Well, I think that was lovely. And we have a lot of comments that are in, and I'm going to, because we've already been an hour, but there's so much here, and so of course, I my question would be, that there's a lot of people and there's a lot of heat and it's not going to stop. Do you see that a community such as what you're talking about in the area that I have the map here that you were talking about putting together? Do you see these as clusters that are not that are going to be small clusters? Where are all the city folks going to go? How are people cooling themselves? A lot of people are asking in the audience what about wet bulb temperatures? I mean, and the numbers from deaths. There's a lot of questioning. People are worried about the population.
So first thing is that I don't see there is any future for cities in the world that we are going to, very that we are going to see in the near future. So people have to realize that city life is not going to last, because none of the cities are self-sufficient. We cities are made to draw resources from the surrounding places. So anything which is not self-sufficient will not be able to survive in the horrible future world that we are going to see, and very soon, that too. I don't see any future or anything that can save the cities from collapse. And Because none of the cities have their own food, none of the cities have their own water. In Mumbai, water is drawn from 200 to 50 kilometers away, and when you are drawing that water here to the city to support the city, the villages where this water resides, those communities are denied the basic rights of, they cannot draw the water which is within their community, within their
Right.
local area, and it is given to the cities. So in future, I don't see those cities surviving, to be very
And that
honest.
means people not surviving. I mean, we're talking about a lot of hardship in India if these wet bulb temperatures continue, which they're going to continue. How do you
Yeah, and
rectify that?
actually people are in India not aware of the about wet bulb temperatures. Uh, they only look at the heat. They don't look at the humidity levels, which are more important, especially in a coastal city like India. In
Right.
India, where I stay, Mumbai, the lot of humidity, and when these high temperatures and humidity come together, and which you call the well, wet bulb temperatures,
Hmm.
uh, people don't realize the effect that is having on their bodies, and they suffer from heat stroke, and sometimes they just die. I mean, there is no statistic which is available, which we can rely on, where such deaths are registered as caused due to heat waves. So many
We're going to
so
go
people are dying.
extinct.
So there are a lot of people who are dying, but we are not aware how many people are dying, and we have to rely on the government data, and everybody knows that you cannot rely on any government data. So there is no independent agency which is compiling those numbers.
Wow. Wow. Okay, let's see. Uh, mm, mm, mm. Do we have enough time? Okay. Organic is a fantasy like a green economy, too much work and not enough time.
See,
That's
uh, see, what I feel is that like, to give you an example, like what is happening in Sri Lanka.
okay.
Sri Lanka banned all the pesticides, and said that only organic food will be grown in that country. Now they are facing an economic crisis, and everything is blamed on, the shift from uh, organic shift from the chemical to organic. So you, in some it's not, I'll say 100% they are wrong, but what happens is that whether we, just like the shift from organic um, to artificial, I mean the chemical, happened slowly. It did not happen overnight. The same way, the shift from the chemical to organic will have to be gradual. The
Well,
reason being that the soil which has lost all its nutrient will require time to become rich again. And the so that the shift has to be, what I would like to say is that the shift has to be gradual and not immediate. So we'll have to give time for the soil to regenerate, basically.
the end of cities comment is a massive truth bomb, and you know Jordan Perry. He comments in our same thread. Have you been to his collapse, the shows that they're doing on post collapse?
uh, can you just repeat the name again?
Jordan Perry. He talks, he's doing post collapse and collapse acceptance, collapse awareness. I'll make sure uh, you're involved in in some of the conversations. I think you'll find them interesting. Um, okay, let's see here. Okay, here's this is a wild one, but will war be happening for the water from the Himalayas? Are there going to be water wars in your country?
Yeah, India is now one of the most third most water stress country in the world. Water is getting scarcer, though the cities don't experience the scarcity, but there is more and more emphasis now within the cities also to do water harvesting. Try to save the water, rather than relying on the governments to supply the water from outside. So, if, for example, our society have has done water harvesting. We tap all the rainwater which falls on our building, and we save it and put it by putting it into the ground, and then you use that same water over a period of time. So most of our needs, maybe 20 to 30% of the water that we need, we have already harvested during the rains. So to answer that question, water is getting difficult day by day to get. Cities like Chennai, the water scarcity has grown to that extent that we had to close offices, and people stopped doing all economic activities because there was no water available. So such things are happening, and it's
They're
going to grow,
happening.
it's going to increase, and we have to not rely on government in the future to provide us water.
Probably right. Okay, here's a very important question. Gary, I spoke with one person from India who said the multinationals in India are buying up water rights. So forget local water and food sovereignty? So tell us what's happening with the multinationals, and are they coming in? Is this because this is, we have a couple of, Heidi is with us. She's an activist, a very big activist. Heidi, thank you. She's with us. So, what do you say to that one?
Yeah, see, as in the West, nowadays people don't drink water while having food. They drink Pepsi or Coca Cola. So we have to, that is how subconsciously people are being manipulated to think that water is not important. What you can rely on. I mean, you can drink a Pepsi along instead of drinking water. So um, we have to in India. We have a lot of alternatives. Like we can drink coconut water instead of the Pepsi. So it is all depending on how we are shaping our needs. Whether we do we want Pepsi, do we want Coca-Cola to stay alive, or we want water. So we have to make that decision.
Is it the
So
president or the CEO of Pepsi from India? I'm pretty sure she is.
so I don't blame the multinationals. It is
Okay.
whether we are demanding. Whatever we demand as a consumer, they are going to provide it. So if we stop, if there is no demand for Pepsi, or there is no demand for the Coca-Cola, then are they going to just produce it? No, it's not going to happen. So though there is a lot of advertising to show celebrities liking and drinking it, so very happy after drinking those poison. So that is how it is
Mhm.
shown. But then everybody has to apply their his own mind, right?
Okay.
I mean, we have to see what is healthy for our bodies. We have to really,
Water.
instead of uh, uh, getting into the new mobiles and new features of the mobiles, are we evaluating our what we are putting into our bodies? It basically comes to that.
Well, that's education. Okay. Here is this is going along with what we're talking about. How serious is the aquifer situation for farmers?
Yeah, it's very serious, especially in the north of India, where most of the food is grown. uh, we have almost come to the limit of the groundwaters. It's almost disappeared. The
Mm,
groundwater, which was found at 5 to 10 feet, it's now gone as deep as 1,000 foot. People are digging the wells,
and that's
and there is
crazy.
no and in India there is no that way law which says that you cannot draw the groundwater.
Mm.
So people are just going deeper every year, and getting the heavy metals and putting those heavy metals in the soil, on the topsoil, and actually destroying it completely.
Lovely.
So
Isn't that
that
lovely? It is overwhelming to hear of the things that you're telling us that I know are happening and not just there, not in India, but everywhere. Um, Let me see, because we are an hour and 21. My gosh, this went fast. I've enjoyed this. I'm gonna I'm going to just see if there are any. Well, everybody, of course, the same. How are they surviving the heat? Oh, and tell us about the wheat. The wheat that was from
Yeah,
Lightning
there,
Rod.
there are there are reports that this year the crop yields have gone down drastically because of the heat. So there are reports coming in that we might not get the produce that we used to get every year, and it so generally now I have also started storing food which we earlier never used to do. So there is fear in the minds of people that whether you will get everything, like the prices of cooking oil that has gone up by at least 5 times in India in the last 2 to 3 years. It so we now what we do is we buy for the whole year, whatever requirements for food grains, etc. And I even advise my friends that there will be shortage which may crop up any time. So it's better to stock up on at least a year of food.
Are you a prepper?
Yeah, I am not a prepper, but I would not store for 25 years, because what is the use when we are not going to be alive for 25 years?
Well, at that note, you know what? That's like the perfect. the perfect end to this perfect evening. I've really enjoyed having you. The audience had questions. They've had a very busy chat, and I will welcome you back again. Is there anything you would like to say to our viewers
Yeah, I would like
before
to
we
end
end?
on what Albert Einstein has said, that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely. I did not find something to give the environmental coffee house flush of the day. I would say that I don't know if you saw, but they are talking about Elon Musk in the chat. They were talking about Elon Musk, which of course we weren't talking about at all. So I suppose if we're going to do a special effect to end the show, we'll give Elon Musk. We'll give Elon Musk the flush of the day. There you go. All right, guys. It would not have been Environmental Coffee House without that. So thank you so much for coming, guys. Jennifer
Thank
is
you.
away. Oh, it's been wonderful. Don't go anywhere. I'm just saying, Jennifer's away. I have a Sunday show planned. I'm not telling anybody what it is yet. It all depends on if I'm finished with my project or not. Kalish, I'd love you to come back, and I will see you in the Twitter sphere. You don't have to go. I'm just going to say good night to everyone. Thank you all. Don't forget, buy me a coffee. I'm still short of the goal to get the computer more consumerism to keep the show going. And I want to thank you all for coming. Go
Just
ahead.
one, yeah, just one thing I would like to say. Which um,
Absolutely.
I will leave your audience with a thought that Mahatma Gandhi has said that whatever you accumulate more than you need is a theft.
There you go. Thank you. That's absolutely perfect. Good night, everyone.